Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Confident Parenting Podcast. My name is Julie. I am an occupational therapist, if you didn't know. And why do I tell you this? Because we are trained at being very good at analyzing people and their lifestyles and how this could be helping or hindering them. And I was rudely reminded this weekend. I had this realization. I analyzed myself. Send some help. I analyzed myself and came to the conclusion that unfortunately nothing in life that you really want or desire is usually easy. Simple, maybe, but not easy. And most things require some element of discipline, at least in the beginning. I talk a lot about habits and routines on this channel. I've done a lot of videos about that. So you can go and look up that and watch and see what my opinion is, or if it'll help you develop your own habits and routines in your life. And this weekend, whilst I really had no reason to kind of feel a bit blah, I don't know how to explain it, like in a funk, feel like I had cotton wool in my brain. I had no real reason for that. I did. I felt I felt like I had no energy. I felt like everything was zapped. And I don't know whether it was because my husband was traveling earlier this week and I don't sleep as well. So I'm kind of like making up for sleep a little bit. It could be that. Stress? I don't know. I mean, the country's about to go through something quite big and altering. And by the time this video goes out, that'll be old hat. But I'm, of course, talking about determining a new president. But I don't think it's even that. I think, to be honest, I think some of it has to do maybe with not sleeping super great. But mostly it's like the food that I'm eating and the choices that I'm making in terms of that. And we've just kind of come off Halloween and there's a lot of things that shouldn't be in my house that were in my house candy wise. And I also bought candy for the kids, like to hand out and also just for us way too early in a way. I don't know. I'm usually not tempted by the traditional candy, like in a big bag, but I would be remiss and I would be lying if I said I hadn't tried the chocolate stuff. But it's really not that good, but sometimes I would still eat it. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I don't know if maybe also it's age and like just I'm not a kid, and so I can't weather like carbohydrate highs and lows as well anymore. But I felt really down, like energy wise, and it's annoying. As a mom, I don't feel like I can afford to feel like that. I want to have steady energy. I want to feel good. I want to wake up feeling great. Like, this is why I don't really drink, because I feel horrendous the next day. Even if I drink half a glass of wine or, a glass of champagne, I do not metabolize this stuff very well. And much to my parents' great disappointment, I am not good at drinking alcohol. That's a joke, but they are very into wine and they understand wine as a living science. I'm not saying they're big drinkers in that they are abusing alcohol, but they drink a lot of wine. They know a lot about it. They live in an area where there is a lot of winemaking, and I'm just like not that into it. And one of the major reasons is that I feel like garbage the next morning. I feel terrible. So I don't know why I don't take this also into how I treat chocolate and sugar specifically, because that is what is happening here. Also, just, I know my body pretty well. I know my hormones. I don't think I shouldn't feel like this hormonally, So I do think it's got to do with what I've been eating. I also, probably about a year ago, dove deep into continuous glucose monitors and my blood sugar and blood glucose. And so now I feel like I have earned a amateur PhD in blood glucose. No, not really, but I understand much better how it works. I also, as an OT, I have a background in physiology and anatomy and just clinical sciences and things. So I have a very basic understanding of these things. It wasn't something I used in everyday practice, but it's major. I went on this deep dive of like why I feel so flat all the time. And then I got a continuous glucose monitor and I started monitoring how food affects my blood sugar. And your blood sugar needs to be steady and stable for you to feel steady and stable. Otherwise you have this big rush when you eat something sweet or eat something very carby, and then you have a big crash. And that's when you feel like you need a nap. But I think maybe based on age, like I think children process manufacture. They metabolize carbohydrates better than adults, because their software and hardware is all new. There's that element. And also they're just typically a lot more active and running around, and they're burning a lot of energy. And so they can kind of weather bad carbohydrates or a lot of carbohydrates a lot better than adults. I think I'm just quite sensitive to these things. Like, I think I'm sensitive to caffeine, to sugar, definitely to alcohol, and also to carbs, which is like, what's the point of living if I can't eat any of this stuff? But I think because maybe, I don't know, if I get back into exercising again regularly, I might be able to manage this a little bit better. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about like what happens when you feel this way, what do you do about it, and if any of you are experiencing this where you don't feel like you have as much energy as you should, I want you to consider that it could be what you're eating and the quantity. So I'll give you an example, and you won't really know how your body reacts to specific carbohydrates specifically, or to sugar, until you actually monitor it. But I would imagine people all fall in a similar kind of range. So for me, I remember specifically, I love bagels. I lived in New York for a long time, so best bagels. And I remember eating a bagel with, I think I had tuna on it and like a bit of mayonnaise and pickles. It was really delicious. And it was half of a bagel, and my blood sugar was like through the roof. I am not a huge person, but I'm also like not a small person. I'm probably like 5'5", so I'm very bang average. And I was just shocked that I couldn't process this bagel. Like, I could process it, I can metabolize it, but it caused such a big blood sugar spike. The same with pizza. And so I realized I probably could eat like a quarter of a bagel, or maybe an eighth of a bagel before my blood sugar would go through the roof. The same with pizza. And I've been eating a lot of pizza lately because we bought a whole lot of pizza dough to make with friends, and then we had leftovers, and so like I'm going to use it up for dinner. I don't want to waste it. And so then I've been eating pizza, and it's like I'm just crashing. It's horrible. And then I drink tea to try and like pep me up a little bit, and it's terrible. I feel awful. Anyway, I feel a bit better today. So I want to talk about what I'm doing differently and what I've done in the past differently to kind of get myself back up to feeling normal again. But man, like, I really should probably only eat like, if a regular pizza, you cut it into 8 pieces, I can probably eat half of one of those slices and not have my blood sugar spike too much. And that is also like maybe moving a little bit as well. Anyway, so basically, I realized that I cannot live like this anymore, where I feel terrible. And yes, I would love to eat chips and chocolate and sweets and all the things all the time, but I feel so bad, I feel so horrible in my body that it's just like not worth it, which is, again, why I don't really drink. The same with caffeine though. I've also found if I drink too much tea, like on an empty stomach, also disaster. And so at the end of the day, this comes down to eating solid meals that have the right, what people will call macronutrient composition, like have the right amount of protein for my body, the right amount of fiber, healthy fats, and like lower on the carbohydrate. Now, I cannot not eat carbohydrate. Like, I do need to eat a little bit, but instead of having carbohydrate with a side of protein, I need to have protein and fiber and fat with a side of carbohydrate. So something like scrambled eggs, maybe with some kind of meat in there, but eggs alone are a good protein source, a good source of fat, will keep you satiated. And then having like half a piece of toast, something small, like something much smaller than you actually expect, will prevent me at least from having this like crazy crash. I have a ethical dilemma with eating a lot of protein and meat and animals. I don't like it, but for my body and the way that I function, I'd rather have a little bit of meat. I just find that works a lot better. Otherwise, I eat so many carbohydrates to try and make up for it, and I feel terrible. And it's not healthy for me at all. So I try and balance eating like cleaner, less meat, but still eating protein sources. And then I try and have more plant-based protein, but I don't want to eat fake plant-based protein. I don't want to eat fake meat. Tried that, not good. Like, so eating more like legumes and beans and things, and nuts, eggs, Greek yogurt. These are all vegetarian sources of protein. Whilst they're not vegan, they are, and so I try and do that. So today, I had some scrambled egg with feta cheese, a little bit of pancetta that we'd bought for the pizza that we never ended up using, and then a small piece of toast. And I had that for breakfast, and I feel like that has kind of sustained me and helps me from having this like crazy crash, because I was just feeling like I had fog in my brain, And I still have to like look after my children. I still have to take them out and do stuff. And it's like, it's absolute torture. And I just fully empathize with people that just want to lie on the couch and eat chips or ice cream and like not do anything, because it just creates this vicious cycle of like, you feel so lethargic that you can't make a good healthy choice, even though you know you should. Maybe you end up going to bed too late, you're scrolling too much, you make poor decisions because you're not feeling your best. It's like your body's almost having an internal tantrum and you can't make good decisions because you're not fueled correctly. So having protein, you know, a lot of people on the internet, there's such polarizing views. There's the whole compassionate eating movement, vegans type of movement, and then there's eating meat, which I think as human beings we were designed and we evolved to do it. And I personally do better eating a little bit of meat. It's hard for me because ethically I want to do, I don't like killing animals, so I just feel really, I don't like to think about it, but that's not also helpful. You need to know where your food comes from. But I just know having this crash makes me feel terrible. So what do you do when you're in this funk? Well, if you can identify that you're in a funk, you need to analyze why that could be. Are you tired? Are you eating not the best choice of food, just eating processed sugary food? Are you feeling extra stressed? What can you actually like do anything about? Is, the only thing I feel like you can really control is maybe what you're eating, and also trying to go to bed a bit earlier and trying not to have, interrupted sleep if possible. Maybe you take a little bit of a nap just to kind of catch up because you get into sleep debt. Reducing the caffeine intake, especially late at night. Reducing your alcohol intake, because alcohol heavily impacts your sleep quality. And so even though you might fall asleep quickly when you've been drinking, you don't get good sleep. And so then you wake up feeling terrible the next day, and the cycle just perpetuates. So you wake up feeling terrible, then you reach for the coffee with the cream and the sugary stuff in it to like pep you up. You feel a bit better because you basically blocked your brain's receptors to feeling tired. And then once that wears off, you have this like giant crash and you just start the whole cycle all over again. You want to reach for sugary things, donuts and bagels and all these things. And I'm telling you, if you're anything like me, your body cannot metabolize these things well. And you're essentially just frying the cells in your brain. So you're just aging a lot, or in your body. So you're aging a lot quicker by having these high blood glucose spikes. You really want to keep your blood sugar normal and steady, and you feel better. And also you're aging a lot better. It also like impacts wrinkles and just all kinds of things on your body, and like discoloration in your skin. And so it's really, really important that you're paying attention to what you're eating. And if you want me to go into a deeper dive about blood sugar and all this kind of thing, I have done podcast episodes on it before, but I can do an updated version of that. I think, that could be useful. So let me know. Make sure you subscribe if this is helpful to you. What do you do when you're in a funk? I found yesterday when I was feeling really down and I just was lazy. I just wanted to sleep. I tried to take like a 20-minute power nap. That didn't work. I got interrupted by 2 of my 3 children, and then they were having a fight next to me on the bed. I had like an eye mask on. I was trying to sleep. That was a disaster. Okay, so that didn't work. So then getting some fresh air, going for a walk, that often makes me feel better. Doing something. I went and cleaned up a little bit. The reason they were coming to bother me is they wanted something to eat. I went and made them some food. I also tried to be more conscious of what I was eating. I felt like I hadn't eaten enough in the past 2 days. So I was just reaching for snacky, poor choices, just not even enough food. So making sure that I ate as much, but you don't feel like cooking for yourself because you don't feel well. So it's like a whole vicious cycle. But anyway, then we went out. I took them to a new library that had opened up close to us, and we went out and they have an outdoor area. And I felt a little bit better after I came back. It was also daylight savings. So we got the kids to bed a little bit earlier, and that meant I could go to bed a little bit earlier and kind of reset myself. So you just have to get through that day. And it takes time also once you eat something and just resting. It can take a few hours to days to start to feel like yourself again. So go easy, try and not overdo it. Just do more relaxing things, but also get outside and get some fresh air. I think that really helps. I think we underestimate how powerful circulation and air quality is to feeling good and alive and feeling, what's the right word? Refreshed, because when you don't have enough oxygen, you can't think. So anyway, I'm on a tangent, I know, but I wanted to just get behind the mic and talk about what to do when you feel like you're in a funk, why you could be, how your food could be affecting you, because those are things that you probably can control. There's a lot of other stuff out there that we cannot control. So we might as well start with the things we can and see if that helps and go from there. So I hope you found this helpful, or at least it gave you some food for thought. Haha. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share this video with someone that might be needing it. Comment down below what you do when you're feeling like slumped. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.